Hello dear students, we have studied in previous video that the cell has special components called as organelles. How is a cell organized? If we study a cell under microscope, we would come across three features in almost each and every cell. These three features are the plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. All activities inside the cell and interactions of the cell with its environment are possible due to these features.
Let us study about plasma membrane in detail. The plasma membrane is also known as the cell membrane. It forms the external covering of most of the cells. It is made up of lipids as well as proteins. Plasma membrane allows the movement of only certain substances across it and it prevents the rest. Hence, it is also known as the selectively permeable membrane. Here is a structure of the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. It is also known as the fluid mosaic model. Here you can see that the plasma membrane is made up of proteins. See in diagram, proteins are shown by the red color, while the two layers of lipid, that is lipid bilayer, it is shown by the yellow color. It also consists of certain carbohydrate molecules. These carbohydrate molecules are associated with the proteins of the membrane. This model explaining the structure of the plasma membrane is known as the fluid mosaic model. See, the fluid mosaic model explains various observations regarding the structure of functional cell membranes. According to this biological model, there is a lipid bilayer. Just now you have seen in the figure that there is double layer of lipids which is known as lipid bilayer. Two molecules thick layer consisting primarily of amphipathic phospholipids in which protein molecules are embedded or fixed. The lipid bilayer gives fluidity and elasticity to the membrane, so the materials can flow through it. Small amounts of carbohydrates are also found in the cell membrane. The fluid mosaic model was devised by scientists S. J. Singer and G. L. Nicholson in the year 1972. Now, what is meant by selectively permeable? Selectively permeable means that the cell membrane has some control over what can cross it, so that only certain molecules either enter or leave the cell. In this figure you can see the selectively permeable membrane. It is shown by the blue colored line. Only dark molecules can pass through it. That means it is permeable to only that dark brown molecules. The pink colored molecules can't pass through it. So it is called as the selectively permeable. For example, school gate. Can we call it selectively permeable? Of course it is. Why? Because only students, teachers and the people who are related to school are allowed to enter the school. Other people are not allowed. So it is said to be selectively permeable. Selectively permeable means the cell membrane has some control over what can cross it. The cell membrane decides what can cross it and what cannot. So only certain molecules either enter or leave the cell. Now, what is meant by phospholipids? These are the molecules composed of hydrophilic or water-loving head and hydrophobic or water-carrying tail. Two types of molecules are there. Hydrophilic means these are attracted towards water. These are also called as water-loving. And hydrophobic means which have fear of water, which try to go away from water. So these are said to be hydrophobic. So the phospholipids are the molecules which are composed of hydrophilic or water-loving head and a hydrophobic or water-fearing tail. This question is very important. Why is plasma membrane said to be selectively permeable? The answer is plasma membrane is called as a selectively permeable because it regulates the movement of substances from within to outside of the cell. This means that the plasma membrane allows the entry of some substances while preventing the movement of some other substances. It's very important. Plasma membrane allows the entry of some substances while preventing the movement of some other substances. That's why it is said to be selectively permeable. Now, what are the various functions of the plasma membrane? First function is the plasma membrane provides a definite shape to the cell by binding its protoplasmic contents together. It's very important function of the plasma membrane. It provides a proper definite shape to the cell by binding its protoplasmic contents together. It also acts as a mechanical barrier and offers protection to the cell, as there is a barrier of the plasma membrane. So, anything can't enter the cell without the permission of the plasma membrane. It regulates the entry and exit of substances by being semi-permeable in nature. Just now we have discussed the meaning of semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means only certain substances are allowed to enter or leave the cell. The plasma membrane engulfs the substances or removes the waste from the cells by vesicle formation. The fluid nature of plasma membrane, it makes it flexible and enables it to engulf or to eat or kill the substances or remove waste by formation of vesicles. Certain factors present in the plasma membrane, they often play an important role in cell recognition, especially in immune responses. That means the plasma membrane plays very important role in our immune system. Now let us discuss about the transport of substances across the cell membrane. Now you know that plasma membrane is selectively permeable. We have also studied about diffusion in chemistry. What is diffusion? The term diffusion has its origin in the Latin word diffunder, which means to spread out. Certain substances can easily pass through the plasma membrane by a simple process of diffusion. In this figure, you can see the passing of the substances, non-charged molecules as well as water molecules are passing through the plasma membrane. So, first type is diffusion. Diffusion is the net movement of solid particles from a region of high concentration to the region of low concentration. Example of diffusion is gaseous exchange between tissues and blood capillaries. Here you can see that diffusion always takes from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration till the concentration becomes same in both compartments. The gaseous exchange between tissues and blood capillaries takes place by diffusion. The cells produce carbon dioxide as they respire. So, the concentration of carbon dioxide is greater in the cell as compared to the blood present in the capillaries, which are in the vicinity or near to the cells. The reverse is true for oxygen. So, carbon dioxide from the cell move across the cell membrane through the membrane of the capillaries and into the blood. And on the other hand, oxygen diffuses from blood into the cell. So, diffusion is very simple process. It is the net movement of solid particles from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Now, you know that each and every cell is surrounded by blood capillaries. So, as a product of respiration, the cells produce carbon dioxide gas. That means cells have higher concentration of the carbon dioxide gas as compared to their surrounding. So carbon dioxide will move outside. At the same time, the blood capillaries have more oxygen as compared to the cell. So oxygen will enter into the cell by the process known as diffusion. Now what is meant by the facilitated diffusion? There are certain molecules which are larger in size or insoluble in lipids, like carbohydrates, ions and water can move across the membranes only through certain channels provided by special transport proteins in the membrane. It is a type of passive transport that does not require energy to move molecules down their concentration gradient. So here they use the membrane proteins to move molecules across the membrane that are large or charged or ions. Here this facilitated diffusion process, it doesn't require energy. It is an example of passive transport. So here the proteins are being used to facilitate the transport. For example, when we have to walk over a long distance, is it possible? It will be very painful. So what do? We use vehicles or other animals like horse, etc. Means we use them to move from one place to other. So it is facilitated transport. So such facilitated transport or diffusion also takes place in the cells. Here they use the membrane proteins to move molecules across the membranes that are large or charged ions. It is a kind of passive transport, means actual cell doesn't need to provide the energy. Here we can compare simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Simple diffusion, it takes place in smaller non-polar molecules. These molecules pass directly through the bilayer or the double layer of liquid. See, here is a brown colored component. These are the protein gates. In case of facilitated diffusion, the large polar molecules and ions require channel proteins or carrier proteins to cross the membrane. So this was the comparison between simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Now what is meant by active transport? Movement of substances from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration is said to be along the concentration gradient, and the process does not require any energy consumption. However, sometimes substances need to move across the membranes against the concentration gradient, which requires energy. Such type of transport is referred to as the active transport. In active transport, there is movement of materials through a membrane against a concentration gradient, means from lower to higher concentration. So it requires energy from the cell in the form of ATP. It is said to be active transport. You know that in diffusion there is movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. So it is passive transport. But in active transport it is opposite. There is a movement from lower concentration to higher concentration. So it requires energy in the form of the cell. It is called as a active transport. Active transport also requires the participation of the special membrane proteins that help to transport substances. Here you can see the active transport or mediated transport. The cell membrane is embedded with many membrane transport proteins that allow such molecules to travel in and out of the cells. It is also called as the mediated transport. The facilitated transport and active transport are also called as the mediated transport because here the mediator, that is protein molecules, are used to facilitate the transport. So these are the types of mediated transport. Now let us discuss about osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a partially permeable membrane from a solution of high water potential to a solution of lower water potential. Here in the figure you can see the mixture of sucrose and water. There is a partially permeable membrane. So the movement of water molecules through a partially permeable membrane from a solution of high water potential to a solution of lower water potential. It is known as osmosis. While studying the effects of different solutions on plant and animal cells, three conditions may arise depending upon the tonicity of the solutions. So three types of solutions are there: hypotonic solution, isotonic solution and hypertonic solution. Here you can see the condition of animal cells and plant cells in the hypotonic, isotonic and hypertonic solution. In hypotonic solution, both the cells, they swell, their size increases, while in isotonic their size is normal, and in hypertonic solution they shrink. First type is isotonic solution. Isotonic solution is a solution that has the same solution concentration as another solution. So there is no net movement of water particles and the overall concentration of both sides of the cell membrane remains constant. Means there is no any change in the cell in the isotonic solution. The Ringer solution is a solution containing various salts isotonic to that of the body fluids of an animal. See in figure, 20% solute concentration and 80% water. So water and outside also same concentration is there, that is 20% solute, 80% water. So water moves in and out of the cell, overall size of the cell remains constant. Second type is hypertonic solution. A solution that has higher solute concentration than another solution. So water particles will move out of the cell causing crenation or shrinking. See in figure, inside the cell there is 20% solute and 80% water, while its surrounding consists 60% water and 40% solute. Means it is more concentrated as compared to the cell. So water will move outside the cell. As a result, cells will shrink or their size will reduce because water molecules will move outside the cell. Cell has 80% water and surrounding has 60% water. So water will move from higher concentration to the lower concentration. That means it will move outside the cell. It is in hypertonic solution. Now third type is hypotonic solution. It is a solution that has the lower solute concentration than another solution. Here water particles will move into the cell, causing the cell to expand and eventually lyse. Lyse means to break down or to burst. See in figure, the cell has 80% water concentration and 20% solute concentration, while its surrounding has 90% water and only 10% solute. So water from outside will move into the cell, causing the cell to expand. Here cell size will increase, and if it goes on continuously, the cell will lyse or break down. Here also you can see the example, condition of animal cells and plant cells in hypotonic, isotonic and hypertonic solution. In hypotonic solution, the animal cell gets lysed or burst because more and more water enters it. Plant cell, it also becomes turgid. Its size increases. In isotonic solution, both plant cell as well as animal cell, they show the normal size. In hypertonic solution, animal cell gets shriveled or shrink. Even plant cell also get plasmolized or it shrinks in the size. There is a famous experiment, growing and shrinking of the egg experiment. So for this you will need eggs of similar size, vinegar, 2 glass tumblers, salt, water, etc. So first step will be you have to immerse both the eggs into the vinegar solution till the shell dissolves. It may take 4 to 5 days for the shell to get dissolved into the vinegar solution. And take the naked egg and immerse one in a 25% salt solution. You will observe the egg in the setup A, it will shrink, while the egg in setup B will swell or bloat. That means its size will increase. Now what is meant by endocytosis? Endocytosis is a cellular process by which materials move into the cell in a bulk. It is of two types, namely phagocytosis and pinocytosis. The phagocytosis, phagging means to devour, means eating of the cell, and osis is process. These are the ancient Greek words. Phagocytosis is the process of engulfment and destruction of solid particles such as bacteria, dead tissue and foreign particles by the cells. Phagocytosis is the process of engulfment and destruction of solid particles such as bacteria, dead tissue and foreign particles by the cells. Here you can see the process of phagocytosis. This phagocytosis is very important because they eat the foreign particles of germs or antigens. So they form the important part of the body's immune system. Here you can see the phagocyte, it has receptor proteins. So the pathogen interacts with the phagocyte receptors. When phagocyte pathogen, it envelops around that structure. Then antigen presenting cell, they help to kill the germ. So in this way, by phagocytosis, germs can be killed. So it plays an important part of the body's immune system. Even phagocytosis is also seen in amoeba. Here you can see the structure of amoeba. Bacteria comes in contact with amoeba, then it starts to grow its pseudopods or false legs. Then it captures that bacteria. Then there is a phagellosome. It engulfs it, it eats it or kills it. And after digestion, there is expulsion of waste. So this figure shows phagocytosis in amoeba. Pinocytosis. Pinocytosis is also known as cell drinking. In this mode of endocytosis, small particles suspended in the fluid outside are brought into the cell by the invagination of the membrane, forming a vesicle, as shown in the figure. Here you can see there is an injection of liquid into a cell by the budding. Here you can see the formation of buds on the plasma membrane. So these buds, they capture the substances inside them. It is pinocytosis or cell drinking. Let us compare between pinocytosis and phagocytosis. In simple words, pinocytosis takes in fluids and solutes, while phagocytosis, it takes in larger substances, for example, bacteria. Now let us study about the exocytosis. Exocytosis is the process in which the vesicles formed inside the cell fuse with the plasma membrane to release their contents into the surrounding medium. Exocytosis is also known as cell vomiting. Several cells employ this method for the removal of wastes. Hormones, enzymes and other secretory substances are also released from the cells by this process. This diagram shows the process of exocytosis. See the steps of the exocytosis. First step is the cell forms a vesicle or sac-like structure around material that needs to be expelled from the cell or removed from the cell. Second step is the vesicle is transported to the cell membrane, and the third step is the vesicle membrane fuses with the cell membrane and releases the contents from the cell. So in this way the cells get rid of their waste. Even hormones, enzymes and other secretory substances are also released from the cells by this process. So this was all about plasma membrane. In next video we will be studying about the cell wall. Thank you.